Welcome again to App State Basketball Media Day. It is now time for the men's portion, so we will start with head coach Dustin Kerns. And after he will begin with an opening statement, and then we can ask him some questions.
Yeah, it's great to see everybody. It's getting fall, leaves are changing, so basketball season is, upon us a little bit, and we're in the heart of our preseason and right in the middle of our practices and fastly approaching some scrimmages, and before we know it, open some games. So we've got a lot of new faces. We've got some good returning players, and we're excited about this group.
Yeah, hey, Coach Kerns. Just wanted to ask you how you feeling about the newcomers, the transfers, and just the season as a whole as it approaches.
Yeah, we've got 6 newcomers, 6 returners. The newcomers, 4 transfers, 2 high school kids. And so with the Bahamas trip, with that summer tour that you're allowed once every 5 years, was really beneficial to get a feel for a lot of our new guys. And we've got a lot of versatility. We've got some experience. We've got some older bodies, and so really excited about those guys. I think they all bring something a little bit different to the table, but they've all really shown signs of really helping our team, and certainly we're excited about that.
Yeah. So you have, obviously the Sun Belt is growing, and we now have Marshall, Southern Miss, JMU, Old Dominion. How does that feel that, you're coming into this conference and, it's a lot more regionalized now and there's a lot more talent? How excited and ready are you for this upcoming season with those teams coming in?
Well, we need a little bit more time. We've got great respect for everybody in this league. The Sun Belt is a tremendous conference filled with great coaches and players, and I think that we've added some more regional trips, which will help us from a travel standpoint, but they're very, very competitive programs and teams, and I think it'll just enhance our league. I think at the end of the day, it's a great positive for our league, and I think will help our attendance, getting some more local, teams and, and regional teams.
Yeah, then last question for me. Obviously, you played UNC Duke last year. This year, there's Wake Forest and Louisville that you play, and, looking forward to Auburn. How important is it for this program to play against, those, more popular Division I teams and get you ready for the Sun Belt season?
Yeah, something we've always tried to do with our non-conference schedule is play the very best to prepare ourselves for the ultra-competitive, Sun Belt. Last year we played the 26th toughest non-conference schedule in the country. And at that time we didn't know an Akron, a Vermont, a Delaware would all go to the NCAA tournament. Iona won their league. Furman played in the championship, et cetera. ETSU, Charlotte were very competitive. I'm probably leaving somebody out other than. And then you mentioned 2 Final Four teams. This year can't predict, however, we've got another competitive non-conference schedule with Louisville and Wake Forest. UC Santa Barbara's picked to win their league. Furman's picked to win the SoCon. ETSU will be picked high. Kennesaw State's rising, and Campbell's been very good. Southeast Louisiana was in the postseason last year. North Carolina Central's been in the NCAA tournament several times. Charlotte's on the road and very competitive program. So once again, I think we've put another competitive schedule together, and certainly we're excited about it.
Coach, you mentioned bringing in 6 new faces combined with the 6 returners. What are some of the challenges of bringing in a lot of kind of newer guys to a core that hasn't, for some of them, have not played as much as others?
Yeah, there's some challenges there. I think that it starts with which we've got really good kids who understand that when you're building a team and a roster that, some of that is going to happen. However, we really trust and rely ourselves on player development so that our returners have gotten better. And so the guys that maybe were freshmen last year, like a Terrence Harcum and Chris Mantis, they have really improved. And so we trust ourselves there. But just being able to add some older bodies, some more experienced bodies, with losing some graduating, some older and experienced bodies was part of the plan. I don't know if that'll be the plan every year, but certainly it's challenging on both ends.
And coming into the season, over the summer and some early practices, who has really stood out in terms of making a leap from the previous year, or just somebody that's just really improved?
Yeah, I don't say this to be cliche, as I think multiple guys have, and I think that's an encouraging thing. I think that, the first guy that jumps out is, Terrence Harcum, has really had a good, preseason. Christopher Mantis is done well. Michael Eads has really, continued to improve. Xavion Brown is back and healthy, and certainly he is, looked really well this preseason. And certainly even C.J. Huntley and Donovan Gregory, two older guys that have played a lot, feel like those guys have improved as well. So, I really say that in the sense like it's multiple guys, but, Terrence Harcum and Chris Mantis are two guys that really jump out that have just, Chris Mantis has gained 10 pounds of muscle. There's just a lot of even off-the-court things that have just helped those guys on the court.
David Ware, 24/7 Sports. Dustin, you mentioned, taking a specific approach to the portal this year based on this year's team. As you went into the portal, you and the coaching staff, what were you looking for kind of in general? What was the game plan going in? And then for the four new guys that are here, as you've seen them get on the court and start interacting within your system with their teammates, what are you seeing specifically from those individual guys?
Yeah, I think we feel like that shooting translates. We feel like it translates at every level. And so really identifying some guys that can, out of the portal that can make some shots with, Tyree Boykin and Carvel T-Set, certainly two of the perimeter players. Both those guys have really, really proven over their college career they can make shots and tough shots against tough opponents. And so that checked that box. And then, Tamel Pearson gives us an inside presence, maybe something we haven't had in the sense of a low block score, a guy that was double teamed at his previous school, and so having a guy down there that you can throw the ball to that could draw a double team is something that was appealing. And then DeBaji Walker's just versatile. He can step out and shoot at the one game of the Bahamas. He was 5 for 5 from 3, but he's also super long and athletic to play inside, and kind of gives us a different dimension defensively as well. He can defend some perimeters and some bigs. And so, but they're all really good kids, and they have really, gravitated to what we're about. We've got a big sign in our locker room says, we don't become you, you become us. And so, I think that they've really embraced that, and our team has embraced them, and certainly the Bahamas trip helped with that.
And kind of building on your comments about the way you're going to play, the attributes those guys bring offensively, you're replacing roughly 75% of your three-point makes from last year. Obviously, that's a key part of your game plan. With the different playmakers in there with maybe a little more game-ready depth, anything changed significantly about your style of play this season?
We've tweaked stuff based off our personnel. I think that, one thing that we're experimenting with Donovan Gregory is just he's literally going to be all over the court. And when I say all over the court, the ball in his hands a lot, the settings, he's going to be we've kind of continued to experiment with Donovan in a lot of different ways on and off the ball. And so I think that's probably a little bit different. And but we've made some just subtle tweaks. Majority will be the same way, but some subtle tweaks based off of this team that at this point we've really liked.
With a little more depth, is there the possibility of maybe changing tempo a little bit? You guys have been a deliberate offense. You play that way intentionally. Do you feel like you may put your foot on the gas a little more?
Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, this preseason we have practiced with a 24-second shot clock from day one, and we've done it every single day. And I think that's helped us a lot. And I do think, as of right now, we've got, significant depth. I don't know if there's separation at the top as maybe we've had in the past but there's definitely not separation at the bottom. There's, significant depth and guys that have been able to really proven themselves in practice and things like that. But absolutely, I think that we've adjusted to our personnel and the pace before, but now we're trying to speed it up a little bit based off of this personnel, and I think we can based off of these guys.
And then flipping ends of the court with defense. It's been very strict pack line. You've mixed some zone in from time to time, but do you see anything in the personnel that might allow you to shift the way you're guarding other teams?
Yeah, we're experimenting with some things defensively just based off our versatility, and I think we've got certain lineups that we could maybe switch more and maybe look at a different type of zone than we've done in the past based off of this team. I think that we've got a inside present shot blocker in Justin Abson that we just haven't had. And I think that was something going in that we thought he had, on the EYBL circuit, he was a top 5 shot blocker. He's backed that up since he's been here. And so being able to tweak some things based off of just having a rim protector where we can press a little bit more and speed the tempo up a little bit more, possibly switch some and deny. I think we've experimented with some things right now with some certain lineups that we like there defensively.
David Rogers, highcountrysports.net. What have you seen so far this year in terms of the competition in the Sun Belt? Maybe raise some eyebrows in terms of what the competition that you're going to have to go against during the course of this year.
You know what? I don't really know. I think that because I haven't seen anybody practice or play, and I think a lot of schools outside of a couple have a lot of new players, and so I think that we all are just uncertain of each other because we've all got a lot of new players and things, but I don't really know how to compare it with other Sun Belt teams right now.
On a local level, I believe Bryant Green is around for at least one more year. Talk about the evolution of his role in this and embrace of that scout team role that he's been able to bring to you.
Yeah, Bryant's terrific, and Bryant has been this is his year 4 with us, a local kid, Watauga High School. One of the first things I did when I became the head coach here is go over and meet with him and his family and, really recruit him to be a preferred walk-on here. And he has gotten bigger and better and stronger each year, and certainly he's a guy that really, really helps our team in a lot of ways. And I'm really proud of his development. He has gotten has tried to become a little bit more of just carrying the culture of our program as well, more than just, on the court, but off the court as well. Really helping the new players, embrace and figure out what we're about. And so he's been great, and certainly I'm excited about him for his senior year. And once again, he's gotten better and better every year, and he just means a little bit more to him. And he's been a great addition, and he's helping us every day.
Coach Matt, President, App State Athletics, you touched on it briefly, but Xavier Brown coming back from injury this year, especially given that some of the departures from last year's team are primary ball handlers. What does his return do for this year's team?
Yeah, I think Xavier, once he's a year older, he's 10 pounds heavier. That's muscle, and so believe it or not, he's even more athletic than he was before the injury. But also another guy that's he's been in our program now this is his 3rd year, and so another guy that can really uphold the culture of our program and what we're about and the standards, and off the court, but also on the court. And he's been a guy that's helped the new guys with whether it's a defensive rotation or whatever. He's in his approach and presentation is really, really good. And so it's just kind of matured. Not that he was immature, it's just kind of taken on a new role. But obviously he's a guy that he's really hard to score on. And defensively he gives us just a different dimension there on the defensive end with his length and athleticism on the perimeter. And so certainly we missed him last year, and we're glad to have him back.
You talked about the Bahamas trip as a team-building opportunity for a lot of the newcomers to come together, but you and your staff also had a really cool opportunity this summer to lead a clinic at Fort Bragg. I was just interested in what that experience meant for you guys as a coaching staff.
Yeah, so Soldiers to Sidelines is a organization that they've done football, they've done other sports. They called and asked us to do the first basketball clinic at Fort Bragg. I immediately accepted as I thought it was just an unbelievable opportunity. And so what they're trying to do is they train retired military servicemen and women to, when they retire from the military, they want to get into coaching. And once again, they've already done football and things like that. This was the first basketball. And so we spent all day. We were on base at 7 a.m. We went the night before, and we left at 5 and spent all day with current and retired military men and women who were, just the great leaders of our country, and taught them drills and offense and things like that so they could go back in their communities and teach them to, whether it's high school kids or little kids. And so it was a tremendous experience, and just a great day for our program, and especially as coaches.
And finally, another kind of cool off-the-court thing that you guys have coming up is your annual tip-off dinner, and Jay Billis is the keynote speaker. I'm just interested in what about Jay attracted you guys to seek him out for this opportunity, and what you hope your team takes away from him.
Yeah, when we got here 3 years ago, I was brought to my attention about the tip-off dinner, and it kind of went away. And it had been away for 9-10 years or so, I think. And so, all right, let's bring it back. First year, Matt McMahon was head coach, alumni at Murray State, now the head coach at LSU. Then you had the COVID year. Then we brought back Coach Bobby Crimmins. And so Jay Billis lives in Charlotte and was kind enough to accept my invitation. Certainly with Matt McMahon and Bobby Crimmins, we kind of, set our standards pretty high. But Jay Billis, arguably him and Kirk Herbstreit of college football, they're the Jay Billis of basketball. And so having him up on campus, spending the day with our team, also speaking to our fans and things will be a great experience. And he accepted right away, and certainly we're thrilled about him coming up here and helping us raise the profile of our program and spending some time with us.
Any further questions for Coach Kerns? All right, thank you, Coach. Up next, we will have our assistant coaches in just a moment.